Yeah, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm pretty sure I've just fully messed up my interior. Fully took it apart. Still have to remove the dash. I might have to drop the steering column a bit to pull it out a little more. But I'm gonna go ahead and in the meantime try to take out the airbox, and I hope that does it and I don't have to fully pull out the dash, because that's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna have to take out the shifter and everything too if I have to do that. So let's go ahead and do this. And before I show you guys the reveal, here's the old. I was able to get it out without pulling the dash. It wasn't too hard, and I'm sure the new one will go in a lot easier than this one took. Look at the size comparison between the regular heater core assembly and the new one. Yeah, and just like that, guys, look at the difference. This is the after, and look how much space there is. I mean, the dash is not fully even on right now, but there's so much space here, and it's definitely worth it. I would recommend anyone to do this mod. If you really don't care about the flapper box with the always crusty flaps, and that's how I deal with my AC. It lets me turn it on or off, as well as control the speed in the blower box over here, and it does a pretty good job. I mean, when it does work. Right now, that's what we're trying to fix right now. So let's go ahead, let's put everything back on, put the dash back on, and then we can move forward from there with the new evap box when it comes in. Now, before we wrap it up for today, guys, I do want to take the gauge cluster, which is very scuffed up and scratched up, and go ahead and polish it similar to that I did the headlights on my Corolla. So let's do that. So then tomorrow when we work on the car again, it's all gonna be all dried up. So gonna go ahead, same steps as that video. I'll go ahead and show it right up here, but we're gonna go ahead and send it down. Alrighty, so this is what after polishing it looked like. And after polishing, I just placed it back on top, and I just went ahead and used a hot glue gun to go all the way around and glue the edges all the way back onto it. Reason being is I do want to be able to remove it if I do want to modify it in the future, as well as not make anything that's irreversible. So now we're going to go ahead and mount it onto the rest of the gauge cluster. Alrighty, and here's the inside of the gauge cluster after I have modified it. As you can see, I still have the fuel gauge, still have the RPM gauge. I have removed the top gauge here to allow for the water temperature gauge that I have inside of the gauge cluster glass. I have the miles per hour, and I did remove the trip meter because I do want to make my own gauges, and I already have them drawn up in CAD. I just have to go ahead and laser cut them and do a design on them, as well as I have my white bin here on the side. So let's go ahead and put it on. And here it is after assembly. You can see that you can actually kind of see it better now, and you don't constantly see reflections. Yeah, there's still some minor scuffs, but it's good enough you don't see it at night. So now let's go ahead and put it on the car. Cleaning up and polishing this. I mean, still a little bit scratched, but it looks way better. You can actually see it at night now. So let's go ahead and install it. Alrighty, and there it is installed. Next up, I have this piece right here, just for the bottom area down there where all the wires are that I want to install. The problem is the clips where these normally go on are non-existent, so it was being held on with double-sided tape, so it always falls. So I'm going to go ahead, remove the steering wheel again, go down there, and figure out a way to mount these. So let's do it. Alright, so down here inside the dash, this is where it would normally go screwed in originally from factory, but the plastic in there, the clips are broken. So my solution, what I'm thinking is, I'm gonna take paper, templatize little bracket right here, rivet it on this end. That way I can always just swivel it out of the way if I need to, and it'll give me quick and easy access underneath here if I need it. So let's go ahead and let's get to fabricating. Alrighty, so to start off, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some cardboard. Alrighty, so to start off, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some cardboard, scissors, and a Sharpie. I'm gonna go ahead and lay it out on here, trace it out and mark where I want my holes, because I want to drill somewhere around this side, as well as here to mount onto it. So let's get to it, let's trace it out, we'll be right back. And here are my two brackets that I have designed, left and right, and this is out of cardboard. They fit perfectly. I'll go ahead and show it. It'll go right there, and the goal is that I'll drill a hole in the right side to go through that hole. On the left here, we'll rivet it on, and that way it'll be easily removable if needed. Now, I could make this out of metal or any material. I would either use aluminum or polycarbonate. I have some spare polycarbonate, so let's go ahead and make this really quickly and cheaply. And here is a long piece of polycarbonate. Normally, from when I went ahead and I made the front air dam and everything here in my front trunk or front bumper. And if you guys didn't know, surprisingly, all this material in the front and this plastic is actually polycarbonate from the lights from offices that you can buy at Home Depot. They sell the light covers, right? And these are pretty cheap. I think it's like $10 or $14 for like a large, huge sheet of 2x4 polycarbonate, and it's heat resistant, flexible, and very durable. And that's what I would really recommend using. Gone ahead and traced them out. So now let's get to cutting. We're gonna go ahead and cut it in my bandsaw. And this is a very cheap Amazon model one that I was able to get. I think the cost of the bandsaw itself was $100, and then I did get the swag portaband table. This one was more expensive, I think like $250. But this, I think, is one of the #1 tools you would want to use if you're doing any sort of fabrication. Alrighty, so now we have our 2 brackets made here. Now we're gonna go ahead and try to fit them in, and what it's gonna look like. It's like this, just like that. So what I'm thinking first is, let's draw a hole, the side that's gonna go to the bottom mount here. Just have that one set away, and then we'll drill through and drill the hole in the dash as well. Let's do it. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna drill through the hole mark that we just made. The good thing about polycarbonate is it's very easy to work with and it's very durable. So let's quickly use some bolts and nuts to mount it onto here for now. In the future, I think just screwing it into these holes might be the best option. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I actually changed my mind and figured, why don't I just take some rivets and rivet the plates onto the panel and thumb, and then just use screws to screw them onto the dash. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna widen this hole first. Alrighty, I widened the hole, so let's go ahead and put them on, and then rivet them on. And there we go. One of them is now hard mounted on there, so let's go ahead and do the other side. Alrighty, so now that we have gone ahead, place these mounts on here, we're gonna go ahead and put this back on. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go ahead and drill through this bracket into the dash, and that will give us a good place to set our screws. So it's gonna find the center point here, and then before I actually drill it, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Sharpie, just mark it. So I want it right there. go ahead and do it. And I do have extra Miata screws here that I've collected from Miatas. Grab one of these regular Miata screws. Let's do it. And there's one side down. Let's go ahead and do the other side.